So yesterday, we saw that how Rupa Goswami clarifies objective purpose of the book or objective of the book. Then he offer Hari Vandana, then he offer Guru Vandana, then we are at the Vaishnava Vandana. So we stopped here yesterday. So here, like, I'll go parallelly PPT and what this books. So you can identify that whatever mentioned in the PPT is same as in the book also. So here Rupa Goswami says, let us offer our respectful obeisance. So yesterday I mentioned one point that anything we want to begin, it's better to begin with the blessings of our superiors, especially superior devotees, advanced devotee, or Guru and Krishna. Their mercy is very, very important. Okay. So let us offer our, here the Rupa Goswami is offering Vandana to Vaishnavas. So he's saying that let us offer our respectful obeisance to all great devotees and acharyas, holy teacher, who are compared to shark in the great ocean of nectar, and who do not care for the various rivers of liberation. Impersonalists are very fond of merging into supreme, like rivers that come down and merge into the ocean. So this is very, very important. So atheism has not just come up in this Kali Yuga, but it was present since the time of Satyuga. Sorry, the time of many yugas, you can say. Every yuga the atheists were staying there. So atheists are demon basically. So atheism has come up. So atheism means they don't believe in the supreme personality of Godhead. Atheists are generally more towards sense gratification rather than what you can say that serving the senses of Krishna. They are more interested in serving their own senses. So they are atheists. They don't believe in the existence of the God. Or maybe they are serving the senses of their extended family in the name of family, society, country, or whatever. That way they do. Okay. So they are Sunyavadi generally. They believe that after that nothing exists. So basically most of the Buddhist followers, Buddha was Lord Krishna himself, but his philosophy was Buddhist philosophy is considered as a Sunyavad, atheism. That is a covered atheism, or you can say atheism. They don't believe after life. They said there is nothing after life. And why Lord Buddha did this thing? To misguide the atheists who were using the Vedas for sense gratificatory purpose, who were misusing the Veda for their own sense gratification rather than utilizing the Veda for higher purpose. To misguide them, what Lord Buddha said that Veda, don't believe in Veda. There is nothing after life. That was Sunyavad. So now after Sunyavad, then Shankaracharya came. Shankaracharya was the incarnation of Lord Shiva. Okay. But Shankaracharya was devotee of the Lord, but his philosophy was Mayavad philosophy. So Mayavad says, after we will be liberated, we become God. We and God are same. So that is also covered atheism. Why? Because before we are not liberated, we are worshipping some God, but as soon as we are liberated, we become God. Well, I am God now. So we replace the God. So basically, their philosophy is also, ultimately they don't accept the separate existence of the Supreme Lord. So they are also atheists. Then there are some other philosophy. There are Sat Darshan, like Karma Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaisesika, Sankhya, then this Patanjali Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga. So Karma Mimamsa, they believe everything comes from karma. Nyaya, they think Nyaya means yes or no, logic. So they say everything comes from logic by chance. Okay, then Karma Mimamsa, everything comes from karma. Then Vaishashika, everything comes from atom. Then yoga, they say, you meditate on Lord Vishnu. Then after meditation, when you become successful, you become Lord Vishnu. So that is also, all these five philosophy are atheistic philosophy. Only the Bhagavad philosophy, which is given by Vyasadeva, is theistic philosophy. So that's why here Rupa Goswami is saying, let us offer our respectful obeisance to all great devotees and Acharya who are compared to shark in the great ocean of nectar and who do not care for the various rivers of liberation. So even they don't care for the so here basically the liberation is mentioned for Sahyajya Mukti, merging with the Supreme Lord. That's why here the word is used impersonalist. So impersonalists are very fond of merging into the Supreme. They want to become one with the Supreme Lord, like the river that come down and merge into the ocean. So उनको लगता है कि sorry, all the rivers flow and merge into the river, then finally they become one. So that's what example they give. The ocean can be compared to liberation and the rivers to all different paths. Sorry, the rivers to all the different paths of liberation. So rivers are different paths you take for liberation. Okay, so that's what they say. So, you can take a different path and you can become liberated and merge with the Supreme Lord. You can become God. The impersonalists are dwelling in the river water, which eventually comes to mix with the ocean. So basically, impersonalists are considered as a river water. Sorry, they are dwelling in the river water and eventually comes to mix with the ocean. So they have no information, however, that within the ocean, as within the river, there are innumerable aquatic living entities. So even we go to the spiritual world, which is very effulgent and which is made of so many living entities who are like an impersonalist kind of thing, but they don't actively participate in the service of the Lord. Okay, so these people think that we merge, but they don't know in the ocean there are so many aquatic animals. Okay, so that means even the ocean, it seems from outside you can't see the different aquatic animal, but when you dive deep inside the ocean, you can see many different big fish, shark, whale, and different varieties of fish. So that means there are separate living entities are separate from the liberation Brahma Jyoti. Okay, sorry, you can say they are not merged with the Supreme Lord, but they have a distinct existence. Okay, so there are innumerable aquatic living entities. The shark who dwell in the ocean do not care for the river, so that are gliding down into it. So shark को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, पानी कितना भी आवे, कभी फर्क पड़ा नहीं पड़ा. So what means here, shark is compared to the devotees who are not behind impersonal liberation, Sahyajya Mukti. There are 5 kinds of Mukti: Sahyajya Mukti, Sarupya Mukti, Samupya Mukti, Salokya Mukti, and Srashti. So Sahyajya means you want to merge with the Supreme Lord. Samipya means you stay closer to the Lord. Okay. Sarupya means you have a similar you have a form as good as God. Salokya means you get the residence in the same loka. So not necessarily you are staying near the Lord, but you are staying in the same loka. Srashti means you become like a cow or what you can say, tree in the spiritual world. So they also serve the Krishna, but in a passive way. These are 5 muktis, but here they are specially talking about Sahyajya Mukti, merging with the Supreme Lord. I don't need it's getting bounce from your head, then let me know. But this is very important concept. Especially Prabhupada has emphasized a lot, to defeat Mayavad, especially Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are very because this philosophy is completely it's complete insult to the Lord. It's against the Lord. Okay, it's deny the existence of the Lord. So that's why it's very, very important to discuss. Because everyone has some or different degree. They have atheism, impersonalism. They consider that, I am the enjoyer. So that way. Okay, so Sark is compared to devotees who are in the spiritual world. They have not merged with the within the Brahma Jyoti. So devotees, what happened? Eternally live in the ocean of devotional service, and they do not care for the rivers. In the other words, those who are pure devotee always remain in the ocean of transcendental loving service to the Lord and have no business with other processes which are compared to the river that only gradually come to the ocean. So devotees directly accept devotional service irrespective of, without considering any other path. Okay, so this is specially meant for that. Okay. So this is Hari Vandana. We already discussed this thing. And Srila Prabhupada, he says, let me offer my respectful obeisance to lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada and of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, by whose mercy, whose inspiration I have been engaged in the matter of compiling this summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this is Guru Vandana. She expressed, we already discussed this thing. And this is Vaishnava Vandana, who are like Makara's king among the fishes. Yeah. So we already discussed about this thing. So this shark lives only in the ocean. Devotee live in ocean of Bhakti Rasa and rejects river like a lesser pleasure. Sharks reject the river. Rivers are other path which only gradually come to the ocean like Jnana. So there are so many paths. Jnana Kand, Karma Kand. Someone follow the process of Jnana and Karma Kand, or maybe Karma Yoga, whatever. Sorry, Karma Mimamsa, Jnana Kand, and Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, and meditation, impersonal meditation, whatever. So sharks are never caught by the fisherman's net because devotees swim deep in the ocean of devotional service. They are never caught into the net of birth and death. So a very nice analogy. Okay. So in the verse number 5, Srila Rupa Goswami pray for the protection of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He says, compares the theories put forward by argumentative logician as the volcano eruption. So taking place inside the ocean. So in front of, Bhakti is so powerful that it's like other philosophies are like a volcano eruption within the ocean. So when a volcano erupts in the ocean, it doesn't harm too much. So same way, other paths will not disturb Bhakti so much. Okay, so inside the ocean, the eruption can do very little harm. Similarly, this theory is put forward by those who are against the devotional service can do very little harm to this great ocean of devotional service. Okay. So, like especially in this verse 5, he mentioned how the Bhakti is so powerful that if someone is Bhakta, they cannot be easily carried away by different paths of logician or atheist. They cannot be easily carried away. So in the verse 6, Rupa Goswami expresses his inability to write Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So Srila Prabhupada comments that when you go through here, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the author of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, very humbly submit that he is just trying to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, although he humbly think himself unfit for this work. So this should be our attitude. So our attitude should be like, no, I am unfit, but at the same time, you should be hopeful. We are not going to be hopeless. That we have a hope that by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we'll be able to execute the devotional service. We'll be execute the order of Krishna and Guru. Can you meet? So this should be our attitude. So that's what Srila Prabhupada said, that should be the attitude of all the preachers of Krishna conscious movement following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. We should never think of ourselves as a great preacher, but should always consider that we are simply instrumental to the previous Acharya, and simply by following their footsteps, we may be able to do something for benefit of suffering humanity. Now, if you see, Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita itself, the preface of Bhagavad Gita, he very nicely tells we should follow this mood. That he says that some of them say that it is greatly fortunate for Americans that I have started the Krishna conscious movement in America. But actually, the original father of this movement is Lord Krishna himself. Since it was started a very long time ago, but is coming down to human society by deceptive succession. This is very important. If I have any credit in this connection, it does not belong to me personally, but it is due to my internal spiritual master, His divine grace. Om Vishnupad, with the respect again, His divine grace. Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parivrajacharya, one Ashtatrasata, Sri Srimad, Bhakti Siddhant, Sarvajit, Gosai Maharaj Prabhupada. So he give full credit to his spiritual master Bhakti Siddhant Sarvajit Thakur. Okay, so this should be our attitude, that we should not be unnecessary puffed up that okay, I have done that, not with that mood. And yesterday we learned one more thing. Srila Rupa Goswami is writing this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu for what? He is writing for the pleasure of Sanatana Goswami and Lord Chaitanya. He is not writing for getting a name, fame, and glory. Oh, I am writing this. That should be our mood. So very nicely explained. So we should carry this mood that we are able to do anything by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. We can't do anything without them. So in the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami explains the definition of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Granth Vibhag. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is divided into 4 parts. So we already discussed that, Eastern, Western, whatever is there. Okay. So now here he discusses about your devotional service. Let's go discuss in detail what is your devotional service. Okay. So this is the verse. What is pure devotional service? If all of you can recite at your place. Anya vilasita sunyam jnana karma jnanavritam anukulyena krishnano silanam bhaktiruttamam. What is Uttama Bhakti? 1 minute, please. So what is Uttama Bhakti? So this is the definition of Uttama Bhakti by Sanatana Goswami. So he says, in Uttama Bhakti, there should be no Anya Abhilas. Anya Abhilas means, oh, I'm doing a bhakti and Krishna will give me money. So you can try to understand. Anya Abhilasita Sunyam. We should not have Anya Abhilas. Okay. Sunyam means it should be free from Anya Abhilas. And what other things? It should be free from Jnana Kand, Karma Kand also. And whatever other paths which are not leading to pure devotional service. Then what else he says? Anukulyana Krishnanu Silanam Bhakti Uttama. So let's discuss this verse very nicely. So this is a translation. Prabhupada has done this translation in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today only I read in, I think, Madhya Lila, the conversation between Ramanand Rai and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Today morning I read this very nicely. So he says, when first class devotional service develop, one must be devoid of all material desire. He should not have material desire. Oh, I'm worshiping Krishna, I'll get nice husband, nice wife. I may get nice bungalow, gadi, whatever. So we should not have that kind of desire. Or I may get so much knowledge. So that should not be there, so that I can become famous. Or okay. So then when first class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires. Knowledge obtained by monastic philosophy. So here knowledge is mentioned about Mayavad philosophy. Okay, not the knowledge of bhakti. So it's very clear here. Then and the fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably. And favorably as Krishna desires. So with the intention of, so let's discuss one by one what is the meaning of that. So basically, if you divide this verse, there are two things. So first two line and second two line. So first two lines should be what it should be. What kind of it should be. Sorry, second line is discussing about how the Uttama Bhakti should be. Okay, how the Uttama Bhakti should be. It should be Anukulyana Krishna Anusilana. So it should be like Anukul and Krishna Anusilana. It is followed by previous Acharya and favorable to Krishna. First two lines is discussing about how it should not be. Okay. So here the what more important is that how it should be. So it's first foremost important part is how it should be. So that's why this verse is divided in two categories. One is primary characteristic and secondary characteristic. The second line of this verse, Anukulyana Krishna Anusilanam Bhaktiruttama, is primary characteristic, and the first line of this verse talks about secondary characteristic. So here it says, so hope you understood this thing. So basically primary characteristic Sanskrit word is Swarup Lakshan. Okay, don't be confused with this. Swarup Lakshan means primary characteristic, foremost characteristic. Swarup means constitution. Lakshana means characteristic, very simple. So in spiritual world, when we talk about our Swarup, what is our constitutional Swarup, constitutional form? So Swarup kya hai hamara spiritual world mein? Just like Rupa Goswami is a constitutional form in the spiritual world, that is Rupa Manjari. So he is a constitutional Swarup. So what is most important here is, so when we are talking about, we had discussed two things in Bhagavad Gita, constitutional duty and conditional duty. So conditional duty is in relation to body and constitutional duty is in relation to soul. So duty relation to soul is very, very important than what? The conditional duty. Okay. So that's very, very important. So that is, so what is the first, foremost important things? That constitutional duty. Okay. So similar way, when we are performing bhakti, it should be what is the most important thing? So that is what is described by Swarup Lakshana or primary characteristic. So it is divided in two parts. So, or you can say essential characteristic and marginal characteristic. Okay, मतलब आप ये कर भी सकते हैं, just like someone has, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrutina arjuna arto arthati jigyasu jnanishya parasarsava. So he says 4 kind of people come to Krishna. Chaturvida bhajante mam. One is jana sukrutina arjuna, who have accumulated the pious credit. And which are those people? Arto, one who is in difficulty. Arthati, one who is in the need of money. Jigyasu, one who is searching for the knowledge but not interested in implementing the knowledge. And Jnani means Bhakta, he is ready to understand the supreme knowledge and ready to implement. Okay, so now someone has material desire, he can also accept devotional service. So it is not said that he should not accept devotional service. Okay, so that is like, now it's up to you whether you want to do the bhakti with material desire or not. It's up to us, our desire. But if you do with material desire, then it is not Uttama Bhakti. That's very clear. That is, if you are doing the bhakti with material desire, it's still bhakti, but it may not be considered as Uttama Bhakti. So that's why it is on margin. It's not you are pure in bhakti, not pure, what should I say, that not pure, complete in the material world. So you are in between right now. Okay, so that's why it is considered as a marginal characteristic. Those who are performing bhakti with some material desire, maybe jnana karma dhanavrata or whatever. Okay, but specifically here it is said that, so Krishna has allowed that, okay, if you are jigyasu, if you are desiring some material profit, you can come. But what should be avoided is that impersonal knowledge, that Mayavadi monastic philosophical knowledge should be avoided, which is not favorable for Krishna. Okay, so that is Tatastha Lakshana, means you can still do that, but in that also there is another condition, that if you have material desire, you can perform bhakti, but that material desire should not be of like monastic philosophical kind of thing. Okay, or not, the material desire should not be like an atheist. So that is very important part. Okay, so now today we'll discuss about Swarup Lakshan, essential characteristic. Okay, so what is Swarup Lakshan here? So please memorize this verse. It's very, very important. It's important for all of us, that Anyabhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavrtam Anukulyena Krishna Anusilanam Bhaktiruttama. So Swarup, these are the Swarup Lakshan, primary characteristic. So there are 3 parts in that. Swarup Lakshan, Anukulyena, it should be Anukul, it should be for Krishna, and Anusilana. We'll discuss one by one. And Tatastha Lakshana is Anyabhilasita Sunyam and Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam. So this is how it is divided. Swarup Lakshan means primary characteristic, Tatastha Lakshana means secondary characteristic. Very simple. Or Swarup Lakshan means essential characteristic, Tatastha Lakshana means marginal characteristic. Whatever way you want to take it. So now we'll discuss about Swarup Lakshan. Sorry, there are some font issue. So Anukulyena. So it should be favorable. Favorable means we'll discuss that. It should be pleasing to, it has 2 extremes. 2 things. Anukulyena means there are 2 things. Pleasing to Krishna and perform with the intention to please Krishna. Okay, it should be very clear. There are 2 extremes here. It should be pleasing to Krishna and should be performed with the intention to please Krishna. Hope this is very clear. So let's take an example. When Krishna was fighting with Hiranya, let's say Kansa, Dantavakra, maybe Sisupal, he got pleasure, he got enjoyment. But that Krishna got the enjoyment with the fight, from the fighting with them. But it was not Kamsa's desire, it was not Sisupal's desire, intention, and it was not Dantavakra's intention to please Krishna. Okay. So that's why Anukulyana means there are two aspects here. It should be pleasing to Krishna. It should be performed with intention to please Krishna. Okay, na? So it should be pleasing to Krishna. The second must be there. But if second is there, first is not there, still it can be considered as a pure devotional service. How? Can anyone give the example? Kartik month is coming. Can anyone give example where Krishna was not pleased, but that service was done with the intention to please Krishna? Kartik month is coming. Very simple example. Please unmute and you can speak. Yes, please.
Just a try, Prabhuji. Like Damodar Ashtakam, when we sing Krishna gets please.
Okay, you are very close, but I want specific instance where it's related to Damodar Leela, where Krishna was not happy, but the service which was done to Krishna was for pleasing Krishna.
Prabhuji, I might be wrong. The Varuna Doot has took the Nanda Maharaj.
No, that was not there. Yes. Very simple.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah, Yashoda, right. This one.
Not
Yashoda
binding.
kept
Not binding. It was more than before that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, like Yashoda Ma had kept milk for boiling on the gas. And
okay.
she had gone to save, but Krishna wasn't pleased because she left him and she went there.
Very nice. Okay, so that was the one example. You can find such example in Shastra. So Rup Goswami has given such a nice example. Okay, so Anukulyam have two aspects. Pleasing to Krishna. So Kansa and all the demons performed while fighting with Kamsa and all other demons, Krishna was feeling happy, but their intention was not to please Krishna, but their intention was to harm the Krishna. There is other extreme. Krishna was not pleased, but service done by the devotee was pleasing to Krishna. So that was Mother Yashoda. Like, as Marisa Mataji mentioned about that milk part. Okay. So, and let's say, so that's what one aspect of Anukulyana. Now, in the Swarup Lakshana only, there is, I'm really sorry, there are some font issue. I could not find for this laptop font. Okay. So it should be for Krishna. So we should understand that Krishna, to mean Krishna and Krishna is meant for Krishna and his personal expansions like Narsimha, Vara, Vaman. Okay. And so Krishna includes all such expansion as well as his pure devotees. So that is very important. That pure devotees are also included here. So because Krishna means he always stays with devotee. What is the difference between Narayan and Krishna? There are four things. Bhakta Madhuri, yesterday we discussed. Rupa Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, and Lila Madhuri. So four are the differences. Krishna always stays with the Bhakta. So if he displeases some of the devotee, one devotee of Krishna, Krishna will not be happy. So it should be, when we are performing service, it should be pleasing to Krishna, his expansion, and his devotee also. Okay. So let's say Anukulena. So enemies like Kalyavan, Jarasan chasing Krishna with weapon. So they are with fighting with them. Krishna was pleased, but their intention was not to please Krishna. Then of course, Yashoda Mai chasing Krishna with a stick weapon. Yashoda Mai is acting out of pure love and affection for the Lord. So before that happened was the milk. Okay. Then there should be Anushilana. Hope you will understand now this Swarup Lakshana. So I will not add it right now. So these are primary characteristics we are discussing. Swarup Lakshana means. Please remember this. So Anushilana means, Anu means following and constantly. Shilana means behavior. So Anushilana means you should behave this way, following the previous Acharya constantly. Not that if you stop for some time, that is not Uttama Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti will never stop, uninterrupted, unmotivated devotional service. What is that verse from Srimad Bhagavatam? Savya pumsa padodharma yato bhakti radoksaje ahetuki apratyata yatma suprasiddhyati. Okay, so that is the verse. That is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Again, unmotivated, uninterrupted. So here Anushilana means constantly following the superiors. So that is the meaning. So the particular word used by Srila Rupa Goswami in this connection is Anushilana. So we should do in the guidance, not that man gadit bhakti nahi karna hai, but we should do by following the Acharya. So following the Acharya, it's mentioned in many scriptures. The Tasmat Gurum Prapadyante Jigyasu Sreyottama. Okay. Then 4.34 it says that what is that? I forgot. What is that? 4.34, very famous. Tasmat Gurum Prapadyate. Then Tad Vigyartham Sagurum Eva Vigyachet. Then 4.34, it's very famous verse. It skipped from my mind. Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Pariprashanena is not, what is that? Pariprashanena Sevaya. That verse. Anyway, 4.34. Tad vidhi pranipratyana praniprashanena sevaya ubdesyanti tad jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Okay. Even Arjuna set the example of surrendering to Krishna. Okay. So Acharya Upasanam Vega. So that is one of the anga mentioned in 13.8. Sorry, 13.8 to 12 in 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Acharya Upasanam. So that's very, very important. Krishna personally set the example by going to Gurukula, and he studied under the guidance of Sandipani Rishi. Lord Ramchandra set the example by going to Vasishtha Muni. Okay, abhi Narsimha Dev kahan gaye the Muhammad Krishna, but of course, so it's very, very important. So following the predecessor Acharya. So as soon as we say, cultivating. So, or cultivation by following the predecessor Acharya. So we should cultivate this habit. So as soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. And without activity, consciousness alone cannot help us. So bhakti means basically activity, constantly engage in some service of Krishna. Constantly engage in some service of Krishna by following predecessor Acharya or in the guidance of predecessor Acharya. That is the meaning of Anushilana. Hope this is clear. Okay. So this is introduction. This Swarup and Lord without any interval. He must be engaged in the service 100% always. There must not be interruption in such a progress of devotional service. That this should be constant. There should not be interrupt that okay, अभी 16 माला कर लिया, थोड़ा मूवी देख के आते हैं, 16 माला कर लिया, अभी थोड़ा ये करके आते हैं. So that's not okay. No, while doing that, if you remember Krishna consciousness, that is different part. So basically, Anushilana means devotional activity. So when we talk about activity, there are two things: pravrutti and nivrutti. Nivrutti, pravrutti, nivrutti. There is a verse in, I think, 16.4. So Bhagavad Gita. So pravrutti means positive activity. We are told what we are told. Follow ABCD. A for association, B for book reading, C for chanting, D for diet, E for engage in some service of Krishna within the principle of bhakti. Nivrutti means negating some activities which are not helpful for developing our bhakti. So which are those? Meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, no tea, coffee, no onion, garlic, no mushroom dal. और क्या बताया? Or no masoor dal and no mushroom also. So all those things are there. Anyway, so these are some pravrutti and nivrutti when we are talking about activity. So Anushilana, if he is not continuously engaged in service, it can't be Uttama Bhakti. It is not pure devotional service. So somehow or other, it should be, we should be always engaged in the service of Krishna. I remember once upon a time, Srila Prabhupada was, before he established International Society for Krishna Consciousness, he used to go Delhi to distribute his magazine, Back to Godhead magazine. And it was very hot. So he was distributing his magazine personally. And while distributing magazine, someone has told him, Swamiji, what will happen by distributing this magazine? Write some books. So he took as an order of his spiritual master, I should write a book. So when he was distributing magazine, one day he got heat stroke. And somehow he fall unconscious amongst the so many lorries. Then when he woke up, he was so much with intense desire to serve that he, as soon as he become conscious, he started distributing Bhagavad Gita and talking about Krishna. So that should be even while sleeping also the bhakti should be going on somewhere, so within the mind. It should not be interrupted. It should be. I'm not saying that you are not following or anything. So this is the highest level. So we are at sadhaka level. So we are not on that stage. So I understand. So I'm not saying that start doing this thing. Don't imitate. Gradually, we have to cultivate this thing. Gradually. That's what it says. Cultivation. That's what word was used, right? Cultivation. Laptop is. Okay. So if he is not continuously engaged in the cultivation of devotional service, it can't be called Uttama Bhakti. It is not pure devotional service. So then what is the other meaning? Anusula means someone might come. So these are from the book of Nectar of Devotion. Someone might come into the temple and the deity might inspire him. And he might put some money in the box just to please the deity. Or he might want to sing some bhajan just to please the deity. And then he goes out and does everything else. So that's not the pure devotional service. it has to be systematic cultivation. So this is mentioned by Giriraj Swami based on his conversation with Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so it has to be systematic cultivation. It's not that just paisa rakh diya, thoda bhajan ga liya, nikal ke gaya. Okay, so by that we'll definitely get some agyat sukruti. Since he has taken the name of Krishna, he will be purified, but he has still not come to the level of Uttama Bhakti. So basically we saw here three things, Swarup Lakshan today, primary characteristic. So what is the verse? Anyabhilasita sunyam jnana karmadi anavrutam anukullena Krishna anusilanam. That is called Uttama Bhakti, Bhakti Uttama. So we saw anukullena Krishna should get his pleasure from it. Devotee's attitude towards Krishna should be favorable. Okay, so it doesn't mean that Krishna just got pleased, but our intention is not to please. That's Uttama Bhakti. It is like, गंगा में फूल गिर गए, इट्स गंगा अर्पणम, तो मैंने गंगा को अर्पित कर दिया. So it's not like that. It should be with intention of giving, then you are offering. So that is called Uttama Bhakti. Okay, so devotee's attitude toward Krishna should be favorable. So if Krishna is not pleased but his attitude is favorable, then also it is called Uttama Bhakti. So we saw the example of Mother Yashoda. Then Krishna means three things: Krishna in various expansions, Krishna's paraphernalia. So we are respectful. Even the garland we receive from the Lord, we are very careful when flower petal comes on the ground. We don't let them be there so that someone doesn't step it over. So what we do, we pick up the flower petals and put it somewhere so that no one can step it over. So we are very, very careful. Krishna's paraphernalia, we are respectful, right? Mrudanga, Karta, we offer the prayers and then we do. Then Krishna's pure devotees. So that is what is the meaning of Krishna. Anusilana means constant activity following the predecessor acharyas. So you have to cultivate this thing. Okay. So yeah, so if the king, so this is Jiv Goswami give three examples. If the king gives instruction to get army ready, then ministers should understand what need to be done. And the soldiers should be ready with the weapon. If king says that call warrior for a feast, then they don't have to come with their weapon. If the king is going out, means he going out with his entourage. And continuous service or emotion to Krishna is expansion and paraphernalia with pleasing attitude toward Krishna. This is Anukulena. So this is the Anukulena, matlab आपको जिस हिसाब से चाहिए उस हिसाब से देना है. Not that किसी ने पानी मांगा और आपने उसको दूध दे दिया. No, okay, your intention is, but we should be very thoughtful what he want exactly. Okay, so thank you very much. So this way we end the session number 5, the primary characteristic of pure devotional service. So tomorrow we discuss secondary characteristic. What is about that? Anya Bilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So as this is what you can take as a screenshot for your reference. Of course, presentation will be shared with you, but this is what is primary characteristic means. Anukullena Krishna Anusilanam Bhaktiruttama. So still we have not completed introduction. So secondary characteristics are pending. Tatastha Lakshana, the marginal characteristics. So we'll do that tomorrow. And then we'll start with chapter 1. So don't worry, we'll finish on time within 30 hours. So if anyone have any question, comment, feedback, they can unmute themselves or they can write in the chat.